Welcome everyone to this talk, the roller coaster of building a web app with AI. It turns out that a few months ago, a friend and I decided to create a product, a web app that uses AI to help people learn languages. So if you're learning English, French, German, or anything, you could use this product. The thing is, while doing it, we faced a lot of challenges. I've been doing web development for many years, and I never faced these challenges before. Today, I'm going to share the lessons of building a product with AI. And if you are thinking of doing a product with AI at any point, then this is going to help you prepare better for that. The product I created, it's called Tandem GPT. And with Tandem GPT, I don't know if you ever heard about the application called Tandem. It's an application, it's just a regular application, it's online, that helps people connect with foreigners that live in the area. So if you want to learn French, it will help you connect with the French people that are in the area. Do you know Tandem, the app, like the regular app, the normal app? Does raise your hand if you know it. Great, 3 people out of 50. Well, the thing is, Tandem GPT is pretty much the same experience, but you're talking through bots. And you're talking in English and French in any conversation, and you can even have a conversation like a call. So it's a really immersive experience for you to practice. So my name is Juan Herrera. I'm a Google developer expert in Angular and web technologies, and I am from Colombia, but I'm based in Graz. And that has a lot to do with the story that I'll tell you now. What is important, nevertheless, besides my credentials, is that I have a WhatsApp channel where I share hilarious memes. And the memes are really good. I'm really good at picking good memes. So if you want to get access to those memes, just scan the QR code. I really recommend it. People say they love it. Yeah, so very, very important. In any case, the thing is, I do public speaking usually. So I like going to conferences and so on. And one of the things that happened is that I also work at a company called Bible. And this company is located in Vienna. And with these people, I develop software, I do things, all sort of stuff. We sort of help people or companies turn ideas into products. And we have a bunch of services also. If you're curious, just go to Bible.com and then you can just take a look at it. In any case, turns out that, as I said, I'm based in Austria. Austria, which is located over there. They, as you probably already know, they speak German. I never spoke German before. Before I moved to Austria, I only knew English, and so obviously going there was difficult because it was a huge difference, not only in the language but also the whole cultural scene. Funny enough, I found these pictures that if you look at them from afar, it looks like the left is hell and the right is heaven, which might be the case, right? Maybe that's what I left. No, in any case, yeah, Colombia is quite different. But certainly the language was for me the greatest obstacle because it was really difficult to learn German. So what happens is that one day in Austria, a friend of mine approached me and he said, Juan, that was actually in May this year or in April. He said, Juan, what if we use AI, ChatGPT, to get across all those challenges of the language, as you can see, an example here of how German can be, to sort of help us, get through those challenges. This is my friend Felipe. And he said, look, we can create a bot that uses ChatGPT, pretends to be a German and Austrian, and then we can learn the language much easily. And I was like, fuck, that makes a lot of sense. Like, it's almost obvious. Of course, I said, let's do it. So we immediately started. And then we created the bot. Very basic. How did we do that? Or that's what we wanted to do, right? So first thing we did is that we picked the stack that we wanted to use, right? So Vercel, if you don't know Vercel, it provides a really great user experience or developer experience for developers. Unlike, I would say, cloud, Google Cloud, Azure, or AWS. I think those are really huge things, complicated. Vercel feels like perfect for anybody who wants to get into it. Next, because I personally liked it more than Angular. That's just the reality of it. Although I've been doing Angular for sort of 6 years or so, but yeah, I'm team React now. And of course, ChatGPT, as you know, very popular, is the core of the business. And then Whisper. Whisper is important because Whisper allows you to turn audio into text. Whisper would allow us or allow the user to send voice messages, which was important. You don't only want to practice a language by texting, but you also want to be able to send voice messages. So we want to use Whisper. That's from OpenAI. And last, Notion, because it's really cool. It's much better than what's it called? Confluence and Atlassian, and GoDaddy for the domain. So those were the tools we picked. And then first thing we do is build a prototype. So we need to do something quick to see if it works. So we start drafting a couple of things. This is a real draft I did again in May this year. Like, okay, this is how it could look like. You know, you can pick the tutor you want, the level you are, the topics you want to practice. It was, you know, I was excited. And we use Tailwind. Tailwind, if you raise your hand if you heard about Tailwind before. Okay, that's about 10 people out of 40. So Tailwind is a really nice way to sort of craft or create prototypes really quickly with CSS, with sort of like a superset of CSS, you can call it. I really like it. And first thing we do is we focus on the layout. We don't focus so much on the details. We need to have a layout that works. And for that, we have this sort of basic thing. You select the language. We put 4 languages at first, the level, and what you want to rehearse, etc. Just a small screenshot or video. And then we sort of started improving the UI and more colors and stuff, and started to take more shape. And we liked it. This was only possible because we use something called component libraries. Component libraries, when you're doing web development, it's like the new generation of Bootstrap. If you remember, Bootstrap was like, oh, these buttons already created, just copy and paste them there. That's cool. Nowadays, there are better component libraries out there. The one we use is called Daisy UI. And it just gives you a bunch of components already for you to drop in. It's really nice, especially if you're a person that is building products and prototypes and things like this quickly. Component libraries like Daisy are perfect. They just give you everything. They even give you the whole chat interface. Look, you cannot imagine how difficult in CSS it's to do this little thing here. It's huge. It's so complicated. It's really complicated. In making a box, a square, that's fine. But that little nuance in the corner is super difficult, and Daisy provides that out of the box. The whole user chat looks like that. So that was really nice. Very quickly, in a couple of days or weeks, we were done with the chat interface, and we were ready to, show this to the world. Thing is, of course, we needed to, or I wanted to also show you, because I guess also somebody approached me before, how does it look like when you want to use ChatGPT? I never used ChatGPT before. Well, it's very simple. I just put a screenshot of the basic lines of code that you need if you ever want to use it. Who has used the OpenAI API before? Raise your hand if you have. Perfect. So it's only 4 people. For the rest, it's very simple. If you want to use ChatGPT today, this afternoon, or tomorrow in a project, all you have to do is import the library. This is a node example, but of course it works for anything. And then you just need to call a function. I think I can use this point here, which is so this is the library right here, right? I initialize the library, and then I call the function called create. I'm creating a completion just for now. And it passes some information into it. Nothing special, just a role called system. That's pretty fine. And the content. You are a helpful assistant. In this case, it could have been, you are a French language teacher. And then you're going to help me practice my French. And then we select the model, but again, nothing special. And that's it. The moment you send that, the chat starts working. It starts replying to any message that you keep sending, you keep getting a response immediately. It's that simple. And if it's that simple, you can create anything. That does the magic, right? It's really cool. And if you're wondering, how does Whisper work? The one that allows us to send voice messages, it's pretty much the same thing. All I'm doing here is instead of sending a message, I'm sending a string, an audio string, which is the message the user sent or recorded. And same thing, I get a transcript, I get a conversation, and I can move over. So when we're looking at the technical challenges, are really not that big of a challenge. It's really straightforward. OpenAI did a great job of it. So next thing we just needed to sort out before we can again put it away for the public was that we needed to sort out the pricing. Of course, ChatGPT and OpenAI, they charge for you to use their APIs. You have to pay. And that was the first huge challenge we run into. Because if you want to charge people to use your app to learn languages, you need to find a model that works. How much should they charge them? 20 euros a month or 5? And if you charge them 3, it's too little. You lose money. So what you're seeing right there is how much it costs to use OpenAI. Now, if you don't understand that, no worries. I didn't understand it either. And it was super complicated because what they do is that they say, assuming the first line that says 4K context, like that one right here. Context is speaking about like how big the message can be, for example. They say it costs 0.00015 euros or dollars, 1,000 tokens. And a token is sometimes like a war, a little bit more like a war, a little less than a war. It's super complicated. So we will have to measure how many words would a conversation have to know how much the conversation would cost and guess how many conversations would the user have so that we can come up with a pricing that would work for them. That was too complicated. So we didn't. We didn't charge anything. We just made a free product because we said, fuck it, right? Like if we want to know if people like this thing, let's just make it for free. And if people are using it and loving it, then we might as well charge them. But let's just not get too complicated. Besides, we never set up any payment systems in the past. So we didn't know how to charge people online. So this was easier. If any of you have felt like that before, yeah, I've been there. So off we go. We're just going to ship it. That was again 1 month later after my friend approached me. And bam, the landing page of TandemGPT. I was so proud of it because it looks so nice. I never crafted something so nice. And again, I didn't do it. It was the component libraries I told you before, but still. And, you know, I was like, man, I made a product. It's so cool. And something happens. Behold the first demo of TandemGPT. I'm just going to remove the audio because it's not necessary, but I'm just here like sort of saying, look, all you have to do is select the sort of the language, the type, what do you want to practice, go for a drink with a friend, and if you say click on let's go, boom. It started talking to you, in this case in Spanish, hola, ¿qué tal, etc. I know you can read it from the back, but I'll read it for you. And then I type something, and then it sort of here, it checks the spelling mistakes, if I make any spelling mistakes, so it tells me, because ChatGPT can also do that. And then it keeps replying, and I reply more. In this case, I made mistakes. I didn't make any mistakes, etc., etc., etc. So, here's some mistakes. So it will just find that there's an error and tell the user, hey, you made a grammar mistake. You can click on it to see what the error was. That was super cool. And turns out that as soon as we published it, these happened. People loved it. They were like, wow, this is so cool, so amazing. Like, really, what a genius idea. It was not my idea, unfortunately. It was my friend's idea. But let's say it was mine, right? In any case, that was great. We were really happy. Again, it was a free product, right? So eventually we need to charge people for that. The thing is, this was a regular Sunday. You know, we published and it was fine, all good. I was just checking the phone to see, you know, people's reactions and new fans and stuff. When all of a sudden, this happened. We started losing money, like crazy. So at first we have, you know, dozens of users, you know, friends of ours, family, and then we have thousands of users. And that meant a lot of money going to waste. By a lot of money, I'm actually speaking about something like 80 euros. But if you lost 80 euros in a day, you know, you just want to stop the shit out of it. So my friends are freaking out. We're like, fuck, we need to stop this. Like, what's going on? And then at first it was like, it's so cool. We made an amazing product and people love it. We need to iterate faster. Or did we? Because when we decided to look closer at who was using our product, we run into an interesting insight we were not expecting. That peak right there is the peak of that day when we released. And again, we have thousands of users that day. And we decided to look closer as to where these users came from. And it turned out they came from Facebook, from a private Facebook group. And we figure, just happened here. Did an influencer just publish TandemGPT in a chat and then it got popular? It's like, what happened? And then we decided to look closer. And then we found out that some of these people were coming from a set of countries. One of them, in that case, was Syria. And we thought, so cool that Syrians are so much into language learning. That's like, wow, you know, stereotypes, man. And then we said, wait, why don't we check the conversations, you know, just to be sure you're right. What, you know, and then this is what we found. Right. You know, what a shame. So we're, first of all, we wondered, why us? Like, what did we do to the world? Why did it targeting us? Because a lot of people are going there. I don't know. We didn't get it, but this was a lot of the conversation we found. And again, if you are a platform that are allowing people to figure out how to kill somebody or to create a bomb, it could also be legally targeted, right? It could be a problem for you. So we needed to stop that shit like immediately. So we started banning users one by one. But the reality is that, yeah, that didn't work out so well. People kept doing that, and we kept losing money as well. So we found out a plot twist, and that is that actually Syria, among other countries, were not allowed by OpenAI. OpenAI didn't allow certain countries to access their APIs, including Italy at some point. I think it's already fine. But yeah, and Syria was one of them. So what that meant is that they were using TandemGPT as a proxy to access ChatGPT and ask all the questions we would have asked, right? All the random shit we probably asked at some point. They were doing that. So we have no other choice other than to block those countries as well. Because if they were using ChatGPT, right, trying to get to use ChatGPT through us, then we were going to lose a lot of money, and they were not using the app for the purposes that we built it. And so we have no choice. They were going to keep proxying through it, so we needed to block them. So we blocked them. And then all was fine. I mean, we didn't block all the countries, we only blocked Syria, which was the most problematic one. So that was the first sort of, jump scare that we had, but then all was fine. People started, keep using the platform and so on, until one day this happened. This is a message I got on LinkedIn. The message looks all right. It's, hey, Juan, whatever. TandemGPT is our new category in our education. I hope you're interested in collaborating with us. Here's an article we wrote. So, I'm skeptical. So I opened the article, read through it. It's good. There's screenshots and stuff. Like there's an actual writer with a picture. And I figure, man, we're getting free press. This is cool. So I was like, thank you. Hi, you don't want anything from me, so I guess we're good. Thank you for doing that, whatever. Then the person says, why don't you write a comment, like a creator, just say like, I'm the creator and, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I guess I can do that. So I wrote a comment, yes, I'm the creator, whatever. And then days later, this is the comment I wrote, hi, I'm Juan, the co-founder of TandemGPT. Bullshit, right? Like just nothing relevant. This was in June 6th. And then a few days later, I came back and then I found this. Other comments. People were engaging with the article, which was great. Let's read one of the comments. Dulcie Sullivan, she wrote, TandemGPT, the new talk of the town. Looks like I need to give it a try. And I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch. Like, this is bullshit. Like this. And then tie parts. That's a great point. Maybe we could integrate some cultural lessons in future updates. Until then, enjoying this tandem ride. And I'm like, this is so fake. Damn it. That's not how internet users write. No one, that's just bullshit. So, of course, I go up to the person and say like, hey, by the way, the comments, they're not real, right? And she's like, no, they're real. No, they're not. She's like, yeah, they're real. I'm like, no, how do you know they're real? She's like, we trust our users. And I'm like, that's bullshit. This is just obviously ChatGPT generated comments, which is ironic. And she's like, no, they're real. And then we start fighting, right? Like, no. And then she's like, yeah, stop trying to bully us and whatever. And I'm like, hey, look, it's just, that's all I'm saying. It's just not real. In any case, at some point, as we were having this conversation, I'm like, wait a minute. And look at the profile picture of this person. It looks so real. And I immediately start Googling her name, and it doesn't show up anywhere, except in some social media that was created only 3 weeks ago. And they're like, what the fuck is going on here? Is this a bot trying to convince me to write comments on a website where more bots are writing comments? Is this AI going rogue and already trying to? And then I find out their business model. Turns out that they use AI to write an article about some technology. They then contact the person who created the article, let's say through an AI probably as well, anyway, because who cares? Then the person writes an article, So it writes a comment. I wrote a comment, and then that comment makes proper organic engagement for Google. So Google ranks the page up, which makes them get money because of advertising. And if they automatize the whole shit, they get a lot of money. And I was like, wow, that's genius, man. Like, good. Like, I'm out of here, but like, okay, fine. I fell for that. Okay. And yeah, that was the second learning. So if you're doing something with AI, especially if you name your product something GPT, you're going to be targeted. That's just the reality. Anyway, so little by little, we got to 800 users. People just loving our product and using it on a regular basis. No longer terrorism, no longer sexism, just regular people learning languages. And that was great. That meant there was a market for it. So that meant only one thing. It was time to version number 2. And in version number 2, this is what we wanted. We wanted to introduce Google Cloud, because this time we don't only wanted users to send voice messages, but we wanted to turn the messages from ChatGPT into voice. We wanted a text-to-speech API, and Google Cloud provided one. That way, you could offer the greatest feature of all, which was calls, right? To be able to have a call with AI and say, hi, what's up? Then the text goes to Whisper, turns into text, and goes to ChatGPT. ChatGPT process, response. I take that response, put it onto Google Cloud. Google Cloud generates a voice that I determine if it's a woman or a man, and then send the user response to the user. The user hears the voice. It's like, hey, what up? Well, what up? It's actually working, by the way. If you want to try, you can try it afterwards. Screen Studio. So we go fancy on marketing. We want to make a really fancy demo, so we pay for that. LangChain, if you've never heard of it, is a way for you to combine several large language models in like one simple system. Because the reality is that if you're working with an app that uses AI, you're probably using a lot of models at once. And LangChain allows you to connect them all together very simply. So I recommend that. Stripe to collect payments, Sentry to collect the errors, monitoring anything that happened, exceptions, and last, Tangri to send emails for authentication. So we picked up this up, and then we were ready to start charging customers. We already knew how they sort of behave and how much it costed us. We knew that it costed us about 15 euros per month, ChatGPT and Whisper. That means if we charge every customer 5 euros, we just need 3 customers, and then everything else is profit. Great, right? Simple. So we said, okay, let's charge $4.99. Marketing. And right. And we also wanted to give them a free trial so that people could, test it before they felt like putting their credit cards there. And lo and behold, once again, we go for it, a demo of this one. So this is me again. Just muted it because it's irrelevant, but I tell them new landing page, of course, through fancy. Select you can go, sign in, select Google or your email, etc., etc. And then you find all these scenarios that you can use to practice then. If you're traveling, if you have a job interview, if you're asking somebody out, you can practice all of those with voice or text, and you can craft your own scenarios. So if you want to practice something very specific, you can do it, etc. So 14 different languages, Japanese, Italian, Portuguese, etc., etc. And then you can practice with voice as well. So that was it. People liked it a lot, so they were like, wow, this is such a cool demo and it looks so cool, and so on, etc., etc., etc. So that was the thing. And here's what happened. First paying user in my lifetime, because I've been building products forever, but I never charged anything. And then there comes the first paying user, somebody random from Czech Republic I didn't know. And I was really happy because that meant the world to me. One thing is being a software developer, right, and building things. Another thing is people actually trusting all the work you did through all those months and putting their credit card and saying, I trust you, show it to me, come on. And that was huge. That was really valuable and insightful for us. I was so happy that day that I knew that meant the first step in the right direction, except this user paid 3 times. It's like you go to Netflix and buy 3 subscriptions at once. There's something wrong with it. obviously. And at this point, I was already suspicious, like, oh man, another hacker or somebody from some random country just trying to hack the system. Why paying 3 times? And the thing is, sign up for 3 free trials, right? So in 1 week, I will get theoretically 3 payments. Obviously not, because probably was a fake credit card. So yeah, I figured that was not a real payment. It was just somebody messing with me. But the next day, another paying customer came in, and this one looked more real because they only purchased 1 subscription, and that was nice. And then the next day, 9 customers came in, and they all paid. And that was like, man, we did it. We charged something, we made something valuable, people pay for it. This is all real shit. We got it. We're so happy. Reality is that we got to a point of 50 euros monthly recurring revenue. That's, in other words, getting 50 euros every month from customers. That might sound like very little for some of you, but honestly, it was the greatest amount of money that I ever collected for the people on the internet. And if you keep doing that, maybe at some point you can score real good numbers. So that was really something we're really proud of. Thing is, that's where we are now, but the story goes on. It turns out that we decided to take Tandem GPT to the next level. And that's why we turned it into Parler. Parler is the whole experience I just described to you of Tandem GPT, but directly on WhatsApp. That means it's a contact. You can see on your WhatsApp. You can send messages to. You can send voice messages, etc. You can send memes. It can send you memes, like memes I do, for example. And the whole experience was right there. No browser, no app, nothing. Just all in it. And that's where we are at the moment. If you're curious, you can just go to parler.app and then know more. I want to maybe finish by saying, if you find this talk interesting, want to know more, if you have particular questions of anything, you can scan this QR code right now, and then you will be able to schedule a 15-minute call with me. So we can just talk about anything, whether you want to do it at a company.
Is it you or is it AI?
Well, we'll see. It's probably me. You can get access to the slides if you want to get access to them, and you get a 10% discount on Parler, so you can also learn languages. You're going to practice whatever, German, French, English, Italian, and so on. You can scan this QR code. Thank you very much, guys. I will take questions now, so if you want to raise your hand and ask something, whatever, all fine. I take that. Okay.
I was wondering if you said you used 3.5 Turbo.
Yeah, that's correct.
OpenAI model. Have you considered switching to GPT-4? I know it costs a lot more, but does it have an increase in performance when it comes to language and translation?
Yep. Sorry, what's your name?
Matteo.
Matteo has a great question. So it turns out that when you're building a product that uses AI, there are different models that you can use. There are free models, open source models, and ChatGPT has also a few sets that you can pick from. The popular and cheap one is called ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo. But there's a more expensive one, which is GPT-4, and there will be more coming. The thing is, GPT-4 obviously is more expensive. It's a lot more expensive. I think it was about 4 times more expensive. That meant that we would probably incur more risks, because if the user overused the app or tried to learn a lot all the time, it would have costed a lot, and we would have earned so much money. And then what we did is, because Mateo's asking, so how about the quality? The quality, we noticed it was not substantially different. It was sufficient, right? So it was slightly better. Maybe the bot reply more carefully and with better quality, but not like greatly. So we figure we stick to GPT 3.5 Turbo. We could have nevertheless include a premium subscription or a VIP package where you get, better quality messages, and then it uses GPT-4 in the background. But we decided not to do that. I think.
And have you considered also having your own large language model, such as the one that people download, the open source one, and cut costs that way, or the performance decreases? That's
the thing. We could do that, but then I will just be honest with all of you. I might sound like an AI guru, but I don't know shit about AI. Really, like I don't know anything. Like I did see university, we have some stuff, but I don't really know much about it. I have to be honest, right? Like I'm just using some services, some APIs. I'm a software engineer, but I don't know that. So to me, it's over. It's over. But I don't know so much about it. So I figure, yeah, I could do that maybe to save some costs, and maybe at some point I will. I have to learn it then and do it. But for now, for me, as also an entrepreneur, it was just easier to just go ahead and do it. You know. Yes.
Were you concerned during all this journey? Were you concerned about your paid user, about legal policies and stuff? Did you build also that part? I mean, privacy policies and everything just to submit the payment and everything.
Yep. So what's your name? Emmanuel. The question for Emmanuel, if you didn't hear in the back, is if I was concerned with privacy policies and terms of use and so on. So the thing is, I think Europe is a very interesting place because people are really concerned about privacy, unlike in America or in Colombia. Like they couldn't give a shit. But here they're like really concerned about it. So our own friends were also asking us like, "Hey, what are you doing with my information?" I'm like, "Oh, God damn it!" Really. So yes, we have to create a privacy policy, which ChatGPT wrote for us. We're not lawyers, we don't know that, right? And then but we obviously review it afterwards. And also terms and conditions so that people knew. And yes, we put it all on the website and everywhere we use our services, and you can see the privacy. Yep.
I just want to ask, like, in this time, like companies are all set with controlling the user experience. So I wanted to know why you decided like to switch from a product in which you control the whole user experience to just using WhatsApp as an interface in which, of course, you have leaves that control the user experience.
That's a great point. One of the things that happened. Sorry, what's your name? Julio. What happened, Julio, is that sometimes when we developed TandemGPT, you were like, "Hey, look, TandemGPT is so cool, you can use it." And they were like, "Oh, that's so nice. Where do I download it?" And I was like, "No, you don't need to download it. It's a web app. You just use the browser." And they were like, "The what?" And I was like, "The browser, it's a website." And they're like, "Okay, so I can download it on the phone." And like, "No, you don't need to. You can just, go directly to the URL." And they didn't get it. Damn it, and they keep asking me, "So I can't find it. It's not on the Play Store." And they're like, "No, it's not on the Play Store. It's a website, damn it." So I figure people don't get it. Some people don't get web apps, unfortunately. I guess you mentioned. And so I figure, I think we need either to create the app or to cut all the shortcut completely and go to WhatsApp. The reason we didn't want to go to WhatsApp altogether is precisely because of what you said. If we go to WhatsApp, we lose the opportunity, for example, of showing the grammar errors in a nice little icon at the top. But on the other hand, it allows us to cut to the chase and get directly to the users where they are in WhatsApp, in social media, in Instagram, etc. And that will make it like everybody's life easier. A lot of people don't know their password. So if I say go to TandemGPT and log in, they're like, "What?" So yeah, I think that was the reason. And we're testing that. We'll see if it works. Sorry, you.
I want to ask, have you ever had the idea to turn TandemGPT into a mobile application?
Yeah, I guess that goes in that direction. We thought of doing it. Here's another confession I have to make. I'm only a web developer. so I was looking at your talk and then I was like, "Damn it, I don't know any of this shit." And so I couldn't make a app myself. I mean, of course, I know React, so I could go to React Native and figure a way. Flutter probably is also doable, but it's expensive to do. So I figure, man, if I just go to WhatsApp directly, I again also save the time of building an app. My co-founder insists that we need an app because it's just people probably want it, and we will probably do it at some point. Just right now, it's expensive for me in certain terms of learning how to do it. So that's why.
Ask again.
I could ask again. Yep.
Can TandemGPT try to create this application?
Your
Your code.
I think if you use OpenAI and ChatGPT, it will just give you some basic answers, but it won't create the code or anything like that. Having said that, I'm sure there's a lot of applications online where you can put a repository and give you the code in another language. I've seen that already. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Any more questions or? Yep, absolutely.
With these services, I saw that a lot of people are reverse engineering the API and use it to train new models for basically free or a small fee as you charge for your. How did you I mean construct the app in a way to protect from this attack the API endpoint?
So if I understood correctly, what people are doing is that they use these endpoints to abuse them to train other models?
Yeah. Perfect.
Really?
Yeah. There are a lot of articles on Medium on this practice.
Okay. So I'll answer the question in two ways. So one is I didn't know that they were used to train other models, like abuse them to train other models. I knew they abuse them in the sense like they use them for other things, like I showed in the example.
And it's basically for free because you are paying the OpenAPI endpoint,
right,
and they are abusing it,
right,
abusing your API.
Right. So a couple of things here. TandemGPT. So obviously there are some basic when you create an API, etc. So some basic rules that we define, like across the region, etc., so that people can make requests from other places. Still, they could find a way to create with Puppeteer, sort of scrap the information or make an automated way to sort of get that information, etc. So hackers, if they wanted to abuse it, they will be able to. Having said that, what we did is that we decided to make the free trial or the free access unlimited, so people can only have a few messages until it says you have to pay. And if they are paying and they're abusing the API, two options: either we ban them because they blocked, didn't follow the terms of service, or they're paying for that, so we don't care. Like, okay, whatever, do whatever you want. You're paying for it, so as you wish. So that's why. The thing is, when we go to WhatsApp, that's great because that also solves the problem. Because people cannot access the WhatsApp APIs directly. They can only use it through chatting directly on the app, and that way, like, we won't have that problem.
Thank you.
Sure.
How was your experience integrating Stripe?
With Stripe?
Like from two points of view, but from the technical part and also from the legal part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have to set up a independent VAT entity in Austria?
That's a great question. What is your name?
Alberto.
So the question of Alberto producer was how was my experience with Stripe, and technically, but also business-wise, legal-wise, and if I had to set up a company with VAT and the whole thing. Reality is great. So much time. Oh, I have 5 minutes still, right? So here's the thing: if you ever want to build an application where you can charge people online, you need a payment provider. That's just it, right? You won't build yourself one. Stripe is the leading one. I would say there are other options, alternative options you can use, but I would say Stripe is the best one. A really great user experience, honestly. I like it. Super easy to set up. So that was great because we needed to just be fast. You need to put your bank account and your address and everything so the police can get you if you're doing something illegal. It's pretty much like that. No, you don't need to set up any, like at the beginning, any VAT or anything like that. The nice thing is that if you start passing the thresholds of legal stuff that you have to pay, the taxes that you have to pay, Stripe will tell you as well. So Stripe told me, look, in Germany, you got one transaction, and in Germany, at least one transaction is taxable, so you have to pay taxes in Germany. And I was like, fuck, that was a problem. So yes, and so on and so forth. But then I have to eventually talk to a legal person, an accountant, and then say, hey, just figure this stuff with me because I don't know what to do. And then apparently in Austria, there's some, not loopholes, but there's some legal frameworks that protect entrepreneurs. So theoretically, unless you reach a certain threshold of revenue, like 10,000 euros, I'm fine. I'm fine and I'm just good and don't have any problem, and I don't have to worry about that. So I really just collect payments and then just go to my bank account and that's it. And technically, again, super easy as well. No problem, really straightforward. I actually didn't connect the Stripe so much to the product other than for authentication, for knowing that the user paid and that they can use the platform. But everything else, payment, I just said, just click on this link and you redirect it to Stripe and then they do the rest.
And as an authentication mechanism, you mentioned SendGrid for sending emails for authenticating. Do you also manage the whole authentication process with it, or do you use Auth0 or similar providers?
Great question as well. Yes, so the question for the ones in back is for authentication, what I use and what was SendGrid for. So very simple. I used initially Google because Google provides an authentication system that is like out of the box and it works really well. Click, and then you're logged in, and then you get all the information, so it's perfect. But then there are users who are not using Google, especially in Europe, because they, privacy stuff. Damn it. And so yeah, users who have different domains, and you cannot log in with Google. So I need to provide a way for them to log in, and the best way I found was the so-called I think magic link approach, which consists in that you put your email there, whatever, at university, at whatever, at Hotmail. And then they send you an email with a link. You click on the link, and then you're automatically logged in. And that happens every time somebody wants to log in with a different account other than Gmail. That was way easier than, for example, storing their passwords or getting another service somehow. Yeah. And then I use Auth0. Oh no, wait. Next out. I think it's called Next Out or Out.js. Out.js is called nowadays. Yeah.
Let's give a next update.
Is it still Next Out? Yeah, I think they're just changing. But, yeah. Really great questions. Go ahead, please.
Next question is more from the business point of view. Like, what are your plans on that? New features or collaborating with some institutions? Like, what are your plans on scalability?
Right. Great question. What is your name?
Polina.
So what we thought at some point is that we were, creating this app and people were using it and they loved it, and we thought, who else will be interested in this? And we thought, language academies. They will totally love it. Imagine you're a language academy and you can say, we don't only have physical tutors, we also have virtual tutors. I guess that will be a competitive advantage for them. So we craft some emails and we sent it to them, and nobody replied. So yeah, we figure maybe they're not so interested. In any case, at the moment, the plan for scalability is directly WhatsApp. So we're going to target WhatsApp like crazy, and we're now creating a lot of marketing content. So we're doing a lot of socials and stuff, and TikTok, and etc. Trying to bring people to the application. That's it for now, really. And we're trying to just do a little bit of organic growth. So no VC capitalists or VC ventures or anything like that. Just ourselves with our own hands. That works so far really well. So we keep it. Yeah. I think we are running out of time, but if you maybe just have more questions later or something, again, can scan the QR code, get access to the slides, or get discount on link to learn languages. Thank you very much for the talk. For the questions, for everything. Much appreciated.